Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So if you also think यार मेरे busy season के पहले पढ़ाई अच्छी चल रही थी but now after the busy season I'm in such a state कि यार लग रहा है कि defer कर देना चाहिए या फिर even you think यार इंटर के समय तो पढ़ाई हो गई थी कैसे भी करके but अभी final में to come into that zone again it is taking a lot of time. So this video is for you where I'm going to tell you how you can manage your articleship with your CA study timelines. So, if you like the content of this video and the upcoming videos, do click on the like button and the subscribe button and do stay till the end because in the end, I'm going to give you a bonus tip. So stay tuned. I will be dividing the time period between my inter CA and my CA final into few phases. Okay, so there is a time period of 36 months. Dividing that by 2, in the first 18 months after my CA inter got completed, my CA inter examination got completed, I focused more on my other extracurriculars. Like I started a cricket talk show, I enrolled into an acting school. I wanted to learn as much as I can from my articleship because that was the first practical exposure I'd ever got in my life. So those 36 months they seem too long, but if we break them up, it will become much easier, my friend. So in the first 18 months, I did not focus a lot on studies because I felt that यार आप पूरे 36 months आप नहीं पढ़ सकते हो, ठीक है? आप 30 months भी आप नहीं पढ़ सकते हो. अगर आपको एग्जाम डे पे अगर वो आपको वो चाहिए कि आप थोड़े फ्रेश रहो या फिर you can carry yourself consistently throughout your study leave. So for that, I don't recommend fully 30 or 36 months of studies. So in the first 18 months, I had low focus on studies and more on extracurriculars and practical life. Into the next 18 months, I will be categorizing this into a few categories. Also, just to add, for me it was 18 months. If you think that you are slow at studies or you might need more time, so I would suggest you can do a split of 16 months, 20 months. Wherein in the last 20 months, before your attempt, you can start studying on a rigorous basis. So I'll tell you what strategy I used to use. Categorizing the 18 months into 4 sub-phases. Okay, you can refer the timestamps also. I've attached it for your convenience. In the first sub-phase, which was for a period of 3 months. Okay, so I'm saying 18 months before my CA final attempt, I'm categorizing that into 4 sub-phases. The first sub-phase was for 3 months. In this, my target was that on a weekday, I can study in the sense I can watch lectures of 3 hours, and on weekends, I watch lectures for 6 hours. Okay, so in 3 hours, I feel that you can start waking up at 9 AM. So many of your articleships will begin at 11 AM. So 9 AM to 11 AM plus the art of speed watching as we have all learned it in the lockdown. So that's why in those 2 hours, potentially from 9 to 11, you can cover a lot more than 2 hours. And if there's some deficit left, you can do it once your articleship ends at night. Okay, and on weekends, even if you're working, because I had many working weekends during my articleship tenure, but I still think that you can safely target 6 hours of studies on a weekend in this sub-phase. Okay, now moving on to the next sub-phase, which is the second sub-phase. This is also for 3 months. And here, of course, because you're getting closer to the examination, your hours, your watch time has to increase. Okay, so on weekdays, I used to watch 4 hours of lecture. You can say 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours after my articleship. Even if my articleship ended at say 10:30, 11 PM, after that also I would strive that यार 2 घंटे तो देख ही ले. ठीक है, एंड में स्टडी लीव में आपको हेल्प होगा अगर आपकी लेक्चर्स अगर सही टाइम पे आपके एंड हो गए तो in this sub phase also, weekdays was for 4 hours and not 3 hours, and weekends I would suggest 7 hours. And 7 hours on weekends, trust me friends, even if you're working on weekends, you will have to share that much time out. Okay, because this is CA final. Managing your articleship with the CA final is something that many people struggle, and that is why I'm trying to lay down a path for you. So that is sub-phase 2. Now sub-phase 3, which is by far the most crucial phase as far as your lectures are considered. This sub-phase will continue for 6.5 months. 6.5 months. And on weekdays, I advise that you watch 5 hours of lectures. You can start waking up at 8 AM, 6 AM and all, 7 AM, and अगर थोड़ा डेफिसिट बच गया तो आप रात में भी देख सकते हो. And on weekend you will definitely have to target minimum 8 hours of lectures, and I will tell you why. Because immediately after this sub phase your study leave will have started, so you should be already immune to 8 hours of study. कि यार 8 hours of study तो अपने लिए normal है on a given day. Okay, so this is the sub phase 3 which is for 6.5 months, and then the last and most important part of your CA final journey, the last sub phase, which is nothing but your CA final study leave, which I'm assuming I'm keeping it at 5.5 months, which is like the average. By this time you should be done with your lectures, okay, and 5.5 months is a good amount of time for self study. So 5.5 months में आप कोई भी lecture नहीं देखो. Elective अगर छूट गया उसके lectures बाकी तो that is okay, because elective is not a huge chunk of portion in its own. Apart from that, all your lectures should be done by now. And if थोड़ा बच गया, like audit में बच गया, law में बच गया, तो I think you can do that self-study basis also. So in these 5.5 months, I would suggest you go through each subject thrice मतलब first time आप कर लो and 2 revisions more for that. So this is the 4th sub phase, totaling the 18 months before your CA final attempt is this. Okay, I've mentioned the sub phase and the duration taken for them. And now is the time for the bonus tip. My bonus tip of how I manage my lectures even after a terrible busy season was that I took a combination of live and recorded. So my live lectures I taken off DT, and they would start at 7 a.m. in the morning. So what happened was that I had to wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning, regardless of whatever time I slept last night, regardless of what my articleship duties were at that time. 7 a.m. I had to wake up, and 7 a.m. से 10 a.m. में 3 hours में उतना तो मेरा होता ही था. That is the minimum that I had established for myself. क्या come what में articleship में और भी कितना busy हूँ मैं, फिर भी 7 to 10 3 hours are reserved for tuitions. This is what I'm talking in sub phase 3, the 6.5 months period, but I'm expecting you to watch at least 5 hours of lectures on weekdays. So in the morning, live lectures 3 hours, so that sets your minimum. And in the night after articleship, I would watch recorded lectures. Okay, and recorded lectures, as we all know, अपन speed watching कर सकते हैं, we can do all of that, and so there's no maximum graph for that. That graph can keep increasing depending on your own pace and your available time. So by doing this, I said that my minimum 3 hours I'll be able to study, and maximum can be any number. If for instance on a particular day my articleship got over at 6 o'clock, so that's a great bonus, right? I can cover up for the entire week. So that is what I did, and that's why I suggest that live plus recorded is a very good combination instead of just live or just recorded. And my second bonus tip to you is, me and my friends, when we were just starting our lectures, so we had made a group where if in a particular week we didn't achieve our targets, the targets were uniform for everyone, and these friends of course doing CA and they've all cleared in the first attempt. So we had created a group where in case we don't achieve our targets for that particular week, यार अगर हफ्ते में मुझे से 27 hours देखना था lecture, अगर वो complete नहीं किया तो we'll all contribute money, and there will be that fund which will be used for enjoyment purposes and all. So that helps you keep yourself motivated, and that gives you an insight कि दूसरे लोग कितनी मेहनत कर रहे हैं. Okay, and by just attaching a small monetary penalty to it, even you strive to do your best. That was my bonus tip. If you really thought that this video was helpful to you, please hit the like button and the subscribe button, and share it with your CA aspirant friends as well. Thank you.